Hey, what the hell's going on, you guys? This is 2 playing NegativeAE, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Let's lift off. We were speculating a lot. Let's just jump into this one. I believe we've read the tips already, if I remember correctly from the last episode. Are we a year ahead? This is Keiichi's year. 4th year, so 1 year after Satoshi's. Yeah. Right? This is Keiichi. Okay, some new so here we go. A year after. A year has passed. I hadn't been able to get used to my new school in Okinomiya, but I had some friends there now. Since I got a part-time job at my relative's store, I had some extra pocket money too. Ended up living with my parents after all, so I don't have to pay for living expenses. It felt great to freely spend the money I earned from working. I still use the room Kasai set up for me from time to time. It was a convenient hideout for when I didn't want to see my parents. In fact, I was planning to spend a day there today. My dad got upset, and that was why I didn't want to stay home. I had been asking for it though. My teacher should know that my dad is a Yakuza, and he gets really scary when he's mad. On the whole, my life had been going well so far, except that it was boring. The reason I could enjoy this lifestyle is probably because I had to live in secret before. It was a great relief to be able to live without having to fake my identity. Well, that might have been a valuable experience. I think I learned from it. I was going grocery shopping and thought I'd get enough food for a week or so. My parents would appreciate my presence more after missing me for a week. I was doing this for their sakes. I knew how to save my pocket money. I was in a good mood. I spun around with my arms spread out. What the fuck? My arm hit... oh. Whoops. My arm hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't where it was supposed to be. Didn't I just do this? Like last year? It's beautiful. What's up with these motorcycles? What the fuck? Oh good, I'm glad the game is also acknowledging this. It looked like these were the owners of the motorcycles. They started shouting at me. This was really strange. I was having deja vu. That's right. It was when I met Satoshi-kun for the first time. He came to save me. I pretended to cry again now. He come to save me again? Made a wish. I started pretending to cry and beg for mercy. At that time, I doubted my ears. Damn! Damn! Keiichi's one sick-looking motherfucker, dude. Damn, dude. He looks like he means business. That's definitely Keiichi. We can't, there's no one else that could be. Fuck, though. He's real cool.
Satoshi-kun?
Of course, it couldn't be him. It couldn't be. When I snapped out of my daydream, I realized it wasn't Satoshi-kun after all. He looked less gracious than Satoshi-kun, so to speak. If Satoshi-kun was pristine and untouched, then this guy would have scratches all over him. But although they were completely different, I got a similar impression from him somehow. Boy looked a bit taken back. You know what this really means, though, is that Keiichi's gonna be in the after party, and it's finally gonna have Keiichi in it. That's gonna be hilarious. The real question that I should be asking is why is this happening again? What was up with this guy? I felt ashamed that I mistook him for Satoshi-kun even for a second. He seemed cool at first, but he wasn't as cool as Satoshi-kun after all.
いや、だから、でもですね、どうしたら機嫌を直し、いや、もちろん私。おお。金がのうなら体で払ってもから。こんな。よう見。なぜこの後。
Hello? Tighten my grip on the stun gun in my back pocket. Just casual fucking pedophilia? Hello? Don't hold a grudge against me if you die, Purse. What you really should do is have like a recorder in the back of your pocket. I guess I know it's illegal to record like... Well, that's not true. I feel like if you just had a recorder in your back pocket and someone said something incriminating, you could just like hit record and then have it. That would be a smart idea. I feel like I should start doing that. Although that sounds very paranoid-y. What the fuck? They indulge in their imaginations which arouse their spirits. You know, why you perverts closing in? Yeah, one stun gun is not going to work on 3 people. Hands are groping the air. Are you going to try and violate me? Flash a light cut through the air? Was that the boy? Looks like thunderbolts knocked the punch down. Wow, so he was actually strong after all? I knew something like that shit was coming. I was like, what? Keiichi's?
ホモ・サピエンスと動物の違いは何か。そう、衣服の着用だ。つまり人は肌以外の衣服の色、つまり肌色を求めすぎる貴様らは人以下。動物と同じだ。貴様ら全員を強制する。
As soon as Keiichi started punching somebody, I was like, okay, hold on, what's going on?
顔食いしばれ。先ほどタイトミニを引き合いに出した。例えば。ここに美少女と一言に言っても、それについて貴様らに抗議することは寿司山家だから。ここではもっと制服系の御三家といえば何か答えてみろ。そうだな、制服。なおセーラーかブレザーかの好みの違いは
I think it's clicking automatically. I don't know why.
もちろんブルワーかスパツかすく水も紺か白かの違いはあるぞ。カテゴどうだ。これだ。ではお前ら3人がこれらのうちの一つずつが好みであったと。おい不良 A、 お前は不良 B。
Is this supposed to be auto going?
そして不良、頭に思い描け。時間は3秒。描けたか。ではお前らの望む美少女がここにいてその衣装を着ているぞ。返事は押すか。さあ
It's just auto clicking this.
よーし、描けたようだな。
It seems like maybe it's not supposed to.
貴様らのバカげた欲望に従いお色気ムンムンなタイトミニスカート姿を見比べてみろ。
I feel like it's just because he's rambling.
きびだんごでももらって。ゲットバックヒア。そんなこと知らんのか愚か者は。
What the? Wait. I really want to read it, but it's just clicking. A combination. Cool. So it was just auto clicking for no reason. I understand it's because he was rambling. But I wanted to read all that. I mean, I guess I can now, but I don't know. It's too much text. I heard a style called Beautiful Russian Schoolgirl, which is a combination of a Japanese uniform fetish and some Russian thing. I don't know. At some point, I heard a bustle of people running this way. I saw several kids running towards us. Seemed like our backup had arrived. The three punks had just been standing there agape, but they started running away when they saw that many people. I do like here's what I like about this is that he's still like acting like a main character, but we're not him anymore. I've never seen that before. That's funny. It's funny to see like it from the other side, even though it's not really. I don't know how to describe what I feel. Even the way he mistook me for Mion sounded like Satoshi-kun. But Satoshi-kun isn't a pervert like him. But still confused. I couldn't yet grasp the situation. Who was this guy? I think this guy is distracting you from that's the exact same situation that happened last year. Mion has friends like him? I was still spacing out in shock, so I forgot to move until his hand touched my head. The boy called Maebara stroked my head roughly. It didn't feel good. It hurt, actually. But still, his hand had the same warmth. Later on, Mion told me about him. Jesus Christ. He was called Keiichi Maebara. K-chan for short. He's one grade below us. Not only that, but he just moved to Hinamizawa. Thanks to his attitude and lack of manners, he'd already become an idol in their class. Mion joyously explained all this. Sure, he sounded like a fun kid. I knew why Mion was into him. But Satoshi-kun is way cooler. He wasn't worth stealing from Sis. Or was he? My heart throbbed. I was excited. I felt like I'd gotten a new toy. Jesus. I was curious to see what kind of relationship Mion intended to build with him. I'd love to tease her about it. Satoshi-kun would refuse out of modesty. But Keiichi Maebara said okay within 2 seconds. Well then, I couldn't wait to tease the two of them. My boring life suddenly became bright again. Isn't this weird? It's a little weird because it's a little weird because the bike kicking thing had happened. I need to take a look at Insult's comment again because Insult had laid out all the stuff for me, and I was reading over it at work, but I'd have to read over it again because this is weird because it makes me think that this is a different timeline because in the timeline that we saw this happen, Keiichi was the one knocking over the bikes, right? Am I correct in that assumption? And then Shion is the one that came over to save us. But we thought she was Mion, but she wasn't actually Mion, she was Shion. And then she invited us out. That's the only difference between that time and that time. But saying that's the only difference is like saying yesterday I both sneezed and didn't sneeze at 12:42, you know? Like, there can only be one thing that happened. Unless we're talking about different dimensions. And again, I don't know how much this game is willing to get as far as, like, how intense the magic scene is, because it could be like a dimension thing, it could be a time thing, it could be a demon thing, it could be anything, because they haven't told me yet.
お姉はケイちゃんのこと本当にズバリケイちゃんの魅力を一言で示すと何です？そうだね。もしも一言でしかそうそう、この間の部活の時にさ。
This is kind of cool. I like that to see this side of Mion. She was reserved. She's reserved in that area, so it was. So that was really like her. As for me, well, I didn't hate him, but my feelings weren't the same as Mion's. Kei-chan was just too childish compared to Satoshi-kun. Wondered how Satoshi-kun was doing. Was he waiting for things to cool down somewhere far away? The case had already been solved, though. That dopehead was the murderer. There was no reason for him to wait anymore. I shook my head. I couldn't think about it too much. Oh wait, I know. The case was confidential, so the arrest of the culprit hadn't been made public. So Satoshi-kun hadn't realized that he could come back. No, he's a little thick-headed. Maybe he'd be waiting for things to calm down until the end of time. But if so, couldn't he give a call to Satoko at least? Should tell her he's living in a faraway place, but that he'd be coming home soon. That stupid Satoko. She'd been living with Rika Furude since Satoshi-kun went away. So nobody would pick up the phone even if he called. Stupid girl. Don't you want your big brother to come home? Given Satoshi-kun's personality, he wouldn't remember any phone numbers other than his home phone number. So he wouldn't be able to contact anybody in Hinamizawa. Maybe he's calling Satoko every night. He keeps ringing but nobody picks up. Then he'd assume Satoko might be taking a bath. There's a theory swirling around in my head, and I'll explain it in a second. Boys. I'll explain the theory, I promise. I'm just kind of forming it in my head based off of this. Okay. I have to think about if it works with all the stories, but I might have found it. I don't know.
それで何？ん？何？どうしたの？今シオン何か言わなかった？
I left it off and urged me on to continue. Then I realized that her tone had changed. I hadn't been listening to her because I was thinking about Satoshi-kun. I thought she'd still be happily talking about Kei-chan. Neon sounded grim now. Her faint smile looked pitiful. It was too late to ask what was going on, so instead I concentrated on her story instead.
でね、おじさんが今日は盛り上げてくれてありがとうって言って、私以外の全員に、お姉以外の全員、みんなの手前、私、相変わらずお姉は自分、それでケイちゃんの袋にはね、そのお人形が一番欲しかった。別に何のお人形だって、ケイちゃんは私だけもらってないって知ってたのに私にくれなかった。ミオンには似合わないよなって次に生まれてくるときは言われたんだよ。
Interesting. Might be fun and popular. He wasn't mature. Also, Mion doesn't really... I don't know. I like Satoshi-kun.
やり直したい。ケイちゃんに出会った最初の頃からやり直して、今度はちゃんと女のお姉深刻すぎ。お姉がやり直したいと思って、しかも向こうが何も互いに傷つき合ってただれちゃうと、まあやり直しも面倒でしょうが。 やり直せる。ケイちゃんの前で涙を流してない。お姉がこの場で適当に涙して明日から心を入れ替えていけ。そりゃケイちゃんのデリカシーのなさには呆れますけど、その結果は結局
I think I see what's going
積
on.
み重ねてきた結果なわけですから。
I think I know where this is
今日か
going.
らの生活を少しずつ改めてポイントを生活を改め、お姉に可愛らしくしろって言うと、明日から変に構えないで普段通りに行きましょう。でも細かい部分でこれまでの違いを見せていく、そこがさりげないポイント。あと人形をもらった現在のケイちゃんの中ではお姉よりもレナの確かにレナは女の子っぽ可愛いし、ライバルがいるならうかうかできませんよお姉。涙は男を引き寄せる力がありますけど、つなぎ止めておく力はありません。普段は笑っててポイントで泣く。
Some decent advice.
萌えの手、私もケイちゃんに実践してみるかな。ダメだよ、ダメ。お姉が気に入る男に私が気に入らない道理は。さーて、なんならお姉、どっちがケイちゃんの気を。やだやだ、
I
絶
see.
対やだ。シオン、ひなみ沢に来たら追い返す。
Maybe it's not too late at all. I understand. I don't even know where he is or when he's coming back. Compared to that, you're very lucky. Mion was saying that she'd do her best from tomorrow on with red, tearful eyes, but I sensed a deeply negative feeling emerging inside of me. Nobody was blaming Mion for being happy with Keishi. I wasn't envious. I wasn't jealous. I didn't want her to be blamed the same way I was blamed. It was just that there was no space for Satoshi-kun in Mion's mind anymore. Filled as it was with Kei-chan and other friends now. It didn't matter to her if Satoshi-kun came back or not. Just like how she didn't care if it was sunny or rain tomorrow. What about me then? Had I been thinking about Satoshi-kun all the time for the past year? I wasn't proud of my own answer. I'd become used to life without Satoshi-kun. His absence didn't hurt me anymore. I was getting used to life with Keiichi Maebara. And if I let my guard down, he might just fill up the space that I've been leaving or saving for Satoshi-kun. If Shion Sonozaki had prayed harder for Satoshi-kun to return, he might have come home already. Where did Satoshi-kun go? Last year, right after his disappearance, I'd paid close attention to the information circulating in the Sonozaki family and its underground connections. And I frequently went to the police station to check with Oishi for new information. Even with all that, I couldn't get any new leads on his whereabouts. I eventually became interested in Oyashiro-sama's curse which surrounded Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I reached the dark history of the village. The more I looked into it, the less likely his survival seemed. I'd returned Mio-san's scrapbooks to her, and then I hadn't gone to the library since. I started a new life in a new school. I'd made new friends, and in the same way, as the falling leaves cover the ground, I felt like I was losing sight of what was really important to me. It was already almost the end of spring. They said summer was coming early and it'd be very hot this year. Normally it'd be the rainy season now, but we had no rain at all. The Watanagashi festival was right around the corner. It had almost been a year. It had been almost a year since Satoshi-kun went missing. In Hinamizawa, they don't allow you to talk openly about Oyashiro-sama's curse, or the series of mysterious deaths. So everybody acts like the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt never happened. That's because Satoshi Hyojo-kun was a member of the family of traders. He fell victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse on the 4th year in running. He was demoned away. Everybody was trying to forget about his existence and erase their memories of him. Don't make him disappear because of the curse. Don't erase his existence. Satoshi-kun was living in Hinamizawa just a year ago. He went to school. He was an A student. He was a member of the Hinamizawa Fighters. He could never hit the ball when it really mattered. He was unreliable, but pure. He was warm. Because of the curse, people made him disappear. They stopped mentioning his name and acted like he never existed. A new resident like Keiichi Maebara wouldn't even know him. I have a feeling we're dealing with different worlds here. I have a feeling we're probably dealing with different worlds. Like there's something to do with a different world. Like a dimension or something, or a different timeline, or something. Something's going on here with time. Obviously, if all the games don't add up in some way, the only thing that makes sense to me, and maybe this is just my Steins Gate mind thinking, is that there's something to do with different timelines or different dimensions. Because none of it... I miss you, Satoshi-kun. I want to go shopping with you again. I want to be in a baseball game with you again and get a cold drink afterwards. I want to tease you, and I want you to stroke my head again. That is interesting. Your hand was so warm. I felt as if my whole body was being caressed. This is a weirdly put paragraph. I haven't opened this notebook in a while. My feelings have been written down over 150 pages. This notebook is the key to my heart. The other me who's been sleeping since last year is slowly waking up. Okay.
まったく、ケイチさんのドスケベぶりには呆れましてよ。男の子なら仕方がないのですよ。みーちゃんもしーちゃんも、ケイチくん困ってるよ。
ですってよ、お姉。大岡越前じゃあるまいし、このままケイちゃんが引きちぎれるまで引っ張りっこします。引っ張りっこなんかしてないよ。シオンが引っ張らなければシオンは沖宮に帰れ。はい、了解。そうしますね。パッと。
Let go of Keiichi suddenly, so he and Sis flew off like a rubber band. Keiichi rolled on the ground while Sis was stuck in a bush head first. What lively people.
じゃあケイちゃん、これ以上からかうとお姉に噛みつかれかねないので、今日はこれで
あ、シオン、そのさ。
ああ、あの程度で恩が着せられるならいくらでも。
じゃあまたな、シオン。
Hand landed on my head. Rub, rub, rub. He stroked my head pretty roughly, but the warmth reminded me.
じゃあすみませんね。またね、お姉。二度と来るなー。レナは紹介。サトコはトラップ。リカちゃんは塩巻いて。
Purify this area with salt. The warmth remained on the top of my head. It felt ticklish and sore. I understand where this is going. Like, they don't need to really continue this story and how it, like, ended up happening. Like, I understand how this all happens now. At least if we're excluding some of the minor details that don't make sense, I understand how it works. I'm sorry. Why? Again. Why whenever someone says I'm sorry, or is it repeated several times? I know that there's times where they say it and it's just one. But there's so many times where it's like, I'm sorry, Satoshi-kun. Or I'm sorry, someone. I'm sorry. Why in the first one did Rena do that? See, here's the thing, right? Is I for some reason that moment sticks in my mind so hard. Rena was like, I'm sorry. In the rain, and she was just looking at the window, and it was really creepy, right? Remember that? Why is it happening over and over again in the story? What is that? I see it in front of me. Is Does that have nothing to do with the story, and that's just like a weird coincidence? Because that doesn't make any sense. Why would they pay so much attention to it in the first one? Does it? Does it just? Am I just like freaking out about something that doesn't matter? Because this has been a running theme in like every chapter, and I just don't understand if that's something that I need to be worried about, or like what's going on. Is that when you change dimensions? Is when you say I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry? You're like, oh, you're in a different dimension. I wasn't happy. It was rough and painful. I like this music. It's I like it because it's like a slow version of the theme. I thought it's the same song I've been listening to, but I was a little on the fence about the voice actors, but they do a really good job. They're really good. He didn't know what to say in a situation like this. But he knew he better say something. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. He just mumbled. Sorry, Shion. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing, Satoshi-kun? I'm the one who should apologize. Even though I said I'd wait for you. Even though we're gonna change, my heart is full of holes. You're leaking out from the small cracks in my heart little by little. Leaking out from me. Are you suffering because I'm here? What? Why? You're so precious to me. So don't say that. I've been with you here, or been with you all this time, but I think I'm hurting you by continuing to exist. I don't want that. That's not true. No, no, no. Where have you been, Satoshi-kun? You weren't with me. Tell me where you are. What's the we're not actually talking to him, right? Okay. Telling me you've always been with me, always by my side. That's such a cliche. Which you prefer, Shion? If I can give you strength, I'd stay by your side forever. But if you're suffering because of me, I'll disappear right away.
そんなこと一緒がいい。サトシ君といつまでも一緒がいい。
Some weird shit going on. But okay. Sure. Okay, no, Mia. You're with me, right? With me right now, Satoshi-kun? I walk back to my moped. My feet sink into the grass. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I stopped when I reached my bike. But then I heard... Oh, fuck! Is that fucking really what's going on?
Satoshi-kun.
That's Satoshi-kun?
Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun.
Are you gonna reveal how magical you're willing to get? No, they're just gonna play magical music and not reveal to me how magical the game's willing to get. Yo, if they straight up like had an entity appear of any sort, I mean, I guess the wind kind of, I would have been so The music's still here. Too scared to sleep. For what? I find Satoshi-kun there in the morning. But I kept talking to him until I passed out. I told him about what happened while he was missing. I told him that I realized how much I loved him after he went away. I'd searched for him, looking into various different things. Gathered underground information through Kasai, and bargained for police information with Oishi. But I couldn't find any leads. A long time passed, but I kept thinking about him, etc., etc. I told him all the details, small details from my daily life. The places I wanted to go with him, the things I wanted to do with him. Okay. The food I wanted to share with him. And I told him a lot of things. I was sitting up at first, but I got tired, so I lay down. I got tired of moving my mouth too, so I started talking to him in my mind. It was the happiest night. You're crazy. That footstep is Oyashiro-sama though, right? I'm not. Am I crazy? Or is that Oyashiro-sama's sign, right? You start hearing the footsteps behind you. But nobody's there. And we're gonna be like, we're gonna realize at some point that it's not Satoshi, and that it's Oyashiro-sama, and it's gonna flash back to the Rena scene where it's like, yeah, the first sign is the footsteps, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, and that's what they're gonna do. At least I got to see him for one night. Just when I resigned myself to that. About Satoshi-kun's presence again. It wasn't a dream after all, thank God. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? Right? Is this Oyashiro-sama? Or are we just fucking around now? Is the game just throwing jack shit at me and I'm supposed to make sense of it? As promised, Satoshi-kun was always by my side. I don't know what's going on. Okay. It seemed that all I could hear was his footsteps. It's just the way it was. It was a bit sad, but I was still satisfied. Are we not... are we just... I'm kind of confused. There's so many things that are confusing about this. Because the first thing is that Oyashiro-sama does that. That's not a Satoshi-kun thing, unless Satoshi-kun is Oyashiro-sama. Which I did say at one point, but I said it like half-heartedly. As like a that's not it prediction. I was like, Satoshi-kun has more to do with the story than I think we think he does. And that he's probably behind this stuff. Along with like Shion or somebody or whatever, because Shion was the manager and I'm still suspicious about her for being the manager. Off of that first one. That first one is so much more different than the other two chapters. Am I making sense? I don't know. But the reason why this is weird is because that's Oyashiro-sama's thing, first. Second, are we not concerned that he's invisible? Like, that would be one of the first things that I would be like, hold on, what the fuck? Maybe? Right? Like, oh, there's someone following me. Oh, it's probably Satoshi. Why is Satoshi invisible? What happened and how? And why is that something that we're not addressing? What the fuck? I have no idea. I have no idea. I think they're just throwing shit at me now. This is by far the most, what the fuck is this? I could communicate with him normally. Are they trying to reveal to me how magical they're willing to get? Because I don't know if that is what they're trying to do right now. But Satoshi-kun got upset about that. He kept mumbling unhappily. Now that I knew he'd always be with me, I shouldn't just stay home all the time. Sticking to my time alone with him, however, because I was scared he might suddenly disappear again. I wanted to make the most of the time that I was sharing with him right now. I must have been worrying too excessively. Satoshi-kun will always be my sign. Yeah. That was his promise. He never breaks his promises. It was fine because he was there. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody about him, even Sis. I mean, there was a time, if I'm thinking back, like, there was a time where Keiichi was like, oh, so that's you, Satoshi. And it was kind of like, okay, sure, you're personifying Oyashiro-sama. The presence that you're hearing as Satoshi, I forget what episode that was, or what chapter that was in. I think it was when he was killing the uncle. A lot of stuff happened in that killing the uncle chapter. Despite it being like, in my head it's like one of the minor ones, but when I really think about it, the uncle one was like the most revealing chapter. I'm sorry. I know I'm talking a lot, but like, this makes no sense to me, so I'm trying to make sense of it in my head. Never get fed up with life or with life with him. He's really cute, you know? How do you know? We always walk together, but when I stop, he always walks one extra step. That's so adorable. I love it. What the fuck? We're definitely going... It's definitely just me and my bliss and my imaginary shit, and then one day I'm going to be like, wait, why is Satoshi invisible? Wait, think back to what Rena said. Guaranteed that's what's gonna fucking happen. I'm gonna be like, oh, that's Oyashiro-sama. Fuck, I'm scared now. And it's scary music's gonna play whenever I hear that footstep.
うん行って適当に遊ぶつもりお姉とその愉快な
I wanted to go to the festival with Satoshi-kun. I knew he liked seeing me have fun with everybody. He might get jealous if I play with Kei-chan. But Satoshi-kun isn't very sensitive in that way. Satoshi-kun loves to see me and my friends have fun. So I should have a lot of fun for his sake. When I talk about it with him later. It is also kind of weird that this happened right after the motorcycle thing. Pretty much. Motorcycle thing happened, and then like in the next scene. I'm just trying to make sense of stuff, so hold on. Just...
スクーターで行くからいいや
He won't let me drive, but he's kind enough to let me drink.
じゃお世話になりますかね
Before nightfall, I'll come pick you up around that time. That's not very specific, Kasai.
綿流しかサトシくんがいなくなっちゃってからもうすぐ1年になるんだムーでしょ
Yeah, that's some creepy shit, dude. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like, for real, though. Like, I don't even care what the fuck's going on right now, because this is gonna be filler shit.
よしやるぞ
Guaranteed.
実に美味しそうこの小さいのなんかそのままボリボリと生でいけちゃうよね
ミオさんは何を言ってるんでございますみーちゃん去年レナからもらったのも食べちゃったの
違う私そんなこと言ってない
Just shook her head, she turned all red.
いやでも実に美味しそうだって
確かお姉って雑食ですから口に入れば何でも食べちゃうんです
美味しいなら今度僕も試してみるのですダメだよリカちゃんお腹壊しちゃ
ちょっと待ておいこらお前いつの間にいるんだよ
はーいケイちゃんにお姉にみんなこんばんはあんたどこから湧いてきたのジオ
It's funnier now that I kind of know what's going on.
焼きそば屋さんの時からずっと
I'm still confused. I'm still trying to think of what's going
お
on.
姉たちが騒がしいからすぐに見つけられました
That threw me for a loop. I was not expecting Shion to start fucking talking to the footsteps. I thought that was going to be like, oh, Oyashiro-sama flashback to Rena, and that's where that was going to go. And then she was going to trap, and then it was going to somehow lead into the one where Mion kidnaps me and tortures Keiichi because we like the same guy again, and she's not okay with me liking him. And then it was going to end up that way. But now it's ending up with her talking with the footsteps that are supposedly Oyashiro-sama, or supposedly Satoshi-kun, but I have no idea.
もうあんたは関係ないでしょ
I guess it could still end that way.
早くどっか行きなさいよもうお姉もあまり私を邪険にしないでくださいねケイちゃん私が一緒でもいいですよね
We were going to have a ball. Went around the booth, assisting her friend. They looked around and laughed out loud. These K-chan insisted. There is some shit that happens here at the festival, so I'm interested in what happens here. Naturally involved everybody else. It looked like Satoshi-kun was having a hard time finding his own spot in the crowd. I glanced at him in a quiet moment. He smiled and told me okay. You were tangible. What the fuck? How is he not tangible? I don't understand. Are we actually saying that there's magic in the game? Is this my key? Is this my key in? I feel like this is my key in. I'm trying to make sense of it, but I can't. And if I can, it's magical. Is this my magicalness that I've been waiting for? Or is Shion just fucking a lunatic? Is that could also be a thing? Oh, good. Yes, hello, people that are gonna die. Oh, it does, yeah. Yeah, and you're gonna, like, fuck up and die here. See you lates. Bye, Takano.
そうだね。僕は富武。ミオンちゃんの双子の妹さんだって。
よろしくです。凄腕のカメラ。ぜひ今度私も映して。
デビューを夢見て投稿。
そんなことないわよ。次郎さんはいろいろとね。
いやいや、才能に恵まれない分を努力で補わないとね。
高野さんと私はお邪魔ですかね。
あらあら、ご検察痛み入るけど。それに高野なんて昔み
やっぱり目上の人にまあその気にしないでください。
Smiled bashfully and Takano-san smiled back elegantly.
あれから図書館研究の同志として
まあ気が向いて
研究の同志ってまさかシオンちゃんも興味があるのかい？そのこの村の昔話とかに。
Sorry, as I knew, Takano-san's hobby wasn't exactly normal. On the surface, her research dealt with the cultural and ancient history of Hinamizawa, but its main focus was the Watanagashi festival from ancient times, which is today, a cannibal banquet in which they captured and gutted a living sacrifice. Her research covered various stories surrounding that and the other legends of cruelty as if it was nothing glory. Those were her main interests, like... Hold on, I need to rewind a little bit, because I'm thinking about it as we go, and I just need to see something. Satoshi-kun left after seeing Satoshi-kun as the center of the group. So I'm sorry, I just need to get information from my head. I apologize, to be honest, but objectively speaking, I researched them. It was then that I heard the loud booms, the taiko drums. Main event of a Tanagashi festival, the dedication dance was about to start. With an L? Dedicational dance? According to Takano-san's hypothesis, the part of the dance was terminated and tears open a futon mat, and the mat represents a living victim.
いよいよ始まり、そろそろ高野さんたちも見に行くんですよね。リカちゃまの。
うん。
I whispered in my ear.
実はね、これから。え？
The ritual storehouse of the storehouse for ritual implements is a sort of treasure house belonging to the Furude Shrine. I heard that Oyashiro-sama's sacred treasures were stored in there. Only people from Furude family and selected members of the three families are allowed to enter. They believe that if other people enter, the place will be we know this. Everybody in Hami's always been curious about what's inside there when they were kids, but the storehouse was always tightly locked, so you couldn't just peek into it either. Kids would get chided if they played around it, so they'd learn to stay away. I didn't like being around it myself since I was familiar with all that. Even though I didn't believe in curses, I still didn't want to be near it. I think it can come from breaking the rules. They're still going to enter the ritual storehouse despite that?
でも確かものすごい厳重。
去年までは前の缶抜きじゃ重すぎてそれで今年から知ってた？
いえ、でも安っぽいと言ったって錠前がかかってます。
二郎さんね。
開けられる。
綿流しの儀式が始まれば、西宮殿の周りには人影。今夜が一番の資格。東大元暮らしとでも言うのかしらね。
According to her hypothesis, the ancient tools used for human dissection and torture would be found in the ritual storehouse.
よかった。二度とない。じゃあ、よかったら後でね。
高野さん。
女行きましょう。
ん
I like how if this took place on a time where there were cell phones, like, I feel like shit would be a lot easier to solve. I feel like because there's no technology, kind of, because it's 1980 something. I mean, there's technology, but it's not good enough to do anything. Satoshi-kun fell victim to the curse in the 4th year. His aunt's death was a sign of Oishiro-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun was sacrificed to pacify Oishiro-sama's anger. That was what Takano-san had said last year. It was just her hypothesis. Present, I wanted to deny her hypothesis because I believed Satoshi-kun was still alive. If her hypothesis was correct, either some religious fanatic or somebody from the three families must be imitating the curse in order to revive the ancient custom of Onagafuchi. That would mean that it was them who killed Satoshi-kun. So what if the ritual storehouse was filled with garbage instead of torture implants? Maybe it was filled with palanquins or freshly painted sideboards for the festival. But it wasn't really hard for me to believe that it was filled with the chemical smell of paint. Maybe I'll get to deny that hypothesis that Satoshi-kun was sacrificed by seeing the inside of the ritual storehouse for myself. Whatever was in there didn't mean that Satoshi-kun would come back.
Satoshi-kun, どうしよう。
Since most people wanted to see Rika-chama's ritual dance, the festival grounds were deadly quiet. Even so, I couldn't sense Satoshi-kun. Did he go somewhere, or was I not paying enough attention? Or maybe he wasn't feeling my emotions in particular? After thinking for a while, I decided to go in with them. Who is... what? It had been almost a year since Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I'd been avoiding the truth since I was afraid he might be dead. But now I had no chance. I had a chance to see the inside of the ritual storehouse. I felt as though something divine had arranged that coincidence. On my way to the ritual storehouse, I noticed Keiichi. He was jumping up and down, trying to see Rika-chama's dedication dance over people's shoulders. If I took him along, we could split the guilt. Oishiro-sama might put a curse on me for entering his divine storehouse. I wanted to partner in crime. That's like the worst. This, to be honest, is probably the worst thing she could have done. That's pretty fucking crazy. Maybe Mion's love would disappear this year.
何考えてんだ私。
It's very spiteful, Shion. I just had to read that again to make sure that I read the thing that I thought I was reading. It must have been the demon inside me. I shook the thought of my own head.
どうしたんだい。それより奉納演舞がよ。
え？奉納演舞がよく見えるなんて誰が言いました？
We headed to the ritual storehouse. Keiichi was baffled by the whole situation. Our timing had been perfect. I could see Tomitaki-san picking the lock. Even though Keiichi must have been curious, he insisted that we shouldn't go in. But I talked him into it anyway. He was quick to change his mind when Tomitaki-san joined in. It was completely dark inside, so Takano lit a battery-powered lantern. A small entry space appeared before us.
真っ暗だ。みんな転ばないように気をつけるんだよ。
ご心配あり。じゃあ門番をよろしく。ここ閉めるわよ。
やれやれ。じゃあみんな、ゆっくり楽しんでおいで。
As the heavy door was closed, we were surrounded by a quiet darkness. All we could really rely on was Takano's
大
lantern.
丈夫よ。予備電池も入って消えたりなんかしないわよ。
Kano chased Keiichi a little bit. Keiichi in turn looked a little pale. He seemed to be able to recognize the sanctity of the building even though he wasn't from Hinamizawa.
さよいしょ。
Wasn't like the smell of a pantry that had been open for years and the smell of fish mixed together. Didn't exactly know how to describe it, but it was a bad smell. From listening to the echo of her footsteps, I could tell that this room was bigger than the one we were just in. Takano-san raised her lantern. I could barely see just how big it was. On the far side of the wall, there was a statue of some kind of god staring down at us as us intruders. The way it was lit by the lantern gave it a powerful appearance, and it scared me.
あれがひなみ沢の守り神。お社様よ。
I looked up at the statue, which was holding its religious ornaments. If Satoshi-kun's disappearance really was a curse, I couldn't forgive this god. I found myself irritated by the way the statue looked down at me. Damn you, Oyashiro-sama. If you really made Satoshi-kun disappear, then I'll never forgive you. Never. She didn't seem to understand the significance of the storehouse. He looked bored. Takano-san noticed that and took out her scrapbooks to show him the brutal history of ancient Hamizawa. I'd heard that story already, so I decided to walk around myself. Since I knew the significance of all these tools, I felt a little nauseated. Though they certainly wouldn't jump out to me, I still found them intimidating. They looked as if they were craving for fresh blood after not having been used in hundreds of years. All the tools looked similar to the ones I saw in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki main house. If those tools were the progenies of torture... Progenies? Progenies. Progenies of torture I don't know what that word is. Like precursors? Precursor? These would be... Oh, no. Okay, I get it. Okay, so after fact. The after... Not precursor. The opposite of precursor. These would be their ancestors. All the implements here looked odd. I doubted they could be really be used. They weren't kept maintained like the ones that the Sonozaki has. So did that mean they shouldn't scare me? No, on the contrary. It told me that the cruel rituals were indeed performed at this village at one point. Now that I found scary. What Takano-san told me was the truth. When I stopped, Satoshi-kun also stopped behind me one step later. Felt no emotional change in Satoshi-kun. I couldn't tell if he was feeling something or not. I knew he was there, but had no idea how he was feeling. I felt scared of him for the first time. He could answer me. I'd want to ask him, who demoned you away?
ね、サトシ聞いてる？
Couldn't tell if he heard me or not. He left as if he didn't hear anything. I could tell that he'd been sulky ever since we got here. I suddenly felt lonely, so I looked for him while walking around. How the fuck do you know he's there? But he might be there. It was a clean altar, an altar ornamented with religious artifacts. It was kept well maintained at sun or dusk. Dust, that would mean well. Flowers in the vase weren't wilting. Saw a pretty handkerchief under the vase. Looked out of place amongst everything else. I was fairly certain it was Rika Furude's handkerchief. That would mean the storehouse is maintained daily. It wasn't forgotten, ruined, buried in dust. The brutality that dwelled in this ritual storehouse is still alive and well in Hinamizawa. That's right. Something as ambiguous as Oyashiro-sama's curse is nothing more than a simple delusion of the villagers. As Takano-san said, everything that happens in this world is done by humans. I had accused Oyashiro-sama of demoning away Satoshi-kun. But Oyashiro-sama is just a statue made of bronze or wood. It's nothing but an icon. There are, however, human beings who would try to make that icon seem real. The mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is a result of human action. It shouldn't be called Oyashiro-sama's curse. If Satoshi-kun was the fourth year's victim, and he was victimized by a human who just was acting as part of a curse, The person who demoned away Satoshi-kun must not be very far from me. Truth behind Satoshi-kun's disappearance was not so far from my grasp. Thump. I was startled by the sound. It sounded like somebody had dropped something. I looked over at Takano and Keiichi. Takano-san was still lecturing him. Did she drop her scrapbook or something? Thump, thump, thump. Okay, so we're at the same point that we were at before. Right? This is the point where I hear shit but nobody else does. But then what's his name also hears it? Komitaki. But Takano and what's his name don't hear it. And I don't remember if they're both demoned. Because I know this is the one where I asked Rika. I'm trying to remember what exact episode this is, because it's the second one, right? This is the second one where I asked Rika for help. Rika can't help me. And then it's like Mion does some shit. Never heard Satoshi-kun do that. It's like somebody was stopping around on the floor in frustration. What is it? I continued, ignoring my question. Though I heard it right nearby, it sounded as though a child was hopping on a wooden floor somewhere distant.
どうしたのサトシ君、何か怒ってるの
Thought he was mad, but I didn't sense any emotion from him at all. Is he mad that I touched the altar? Maybe you weren't supposed to do that. It's not that I've been able to communicate with Satoshi-kun in a concrete way. This right here seems like there's magic, because if I'm hearing something that they can't hear, then there's got to be something going on with like the psychology of people, and that the only way that I can explain that is through magical circumstances. That and the entity that I can feel the presence of sounds like the game's willing to get pretty magical. If we had to combine... See, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a bigger story here, and I cannot wait till it's cleared up in my head. Like, I really wish they would just clear it up in my head. Like, I really want to see how this game ends. Because, like, I just want it to be clear in my head exactly what it went on where. I wonder if this is one of those visual novels that when you finish it, there's, like, a hole in your heart. It's like that with a lot of, like, books that I read sometimes, or, like, Steins Gate, it was like that, where I finished it and for, like, a week I wasn't happy. I was like, oh, there's a hole where Steins Gate used to be. I feel like this might be one of those games, because, like, if it ends with, like, a crazy cliffhanger and I have to, like, it blows my mind and I have to, like, think about it for a week, I don't even know what I'm going to do with my life. I just have to reread what I was kind of talking over. It's not that I've been able to communicate with him in a concrete way. I just talked to him. I was never expecting him to react like that. I didn't sense a willingness to communicate from this creepy sound. It's Oyashiro-sama. Is this where we realize it? Is this where we realize it and then we're gonna like, oh, Brenda told us about that. Cold shiver shot through my feet and I sprung a step backward. It sounded to come from right there. Even though I jumped back, it was still just a few meters away. Satoshi-kun would sometimes let me hear his footsteps when I walked. But if that wasn't Satoshi-kun, then there was no guarantee I'd hear its footsteps. That invisible being could already be right in front of my eyes. I just wouldn't see it. I forgot everything and ran, straining my ears as much as possible for any sound, listening for any footsteps pursuing me. I ran right into Keiichi and clung to him, timidly turning back to look. The dimly lit area before the altar was quiet, like nothing was happening. Seeing that chilling darkness, dark stillness, realizing I was just in that space made me even more frightened now.
どうしたよ、シオン。ひょっとして怖くなった
Keiichi made fun of me. Even though he looked horrified just a little while ago, he now looked satisfied to see me scared too.
お化け屋敷で女の子がしがみまんざらでもないくせ。ほらほら行きましょう。高野さんに置いてかれます。
I pretended to be fine, but I wasn't sure if I was able to hide my fear entirely. The footsteps were chasing me. They were outside the illumination of the lantern, as if they couldn't go into the light. The presence had never left us, however. It followed us like a fourth member of the party. Sometimes it made a stomping sound as if wanting some recognition. But neither Takano nor Keiichi seemed to notice it. It was possible for Takano-san to be ignoring it, but Keiichi would never ignore it. If he could hear it, he would have said something. So, just like with Satoshi-kun, only I could hear it. What was this thing that was making me so scared? Was it Satoshi-kun in a bad mood? Or was it possible that the presence I believed to be Satoshi-kun might not have been him after all? What are you upset about, Satoshi-kun? Tell me if you did something wrong, I'll apologize. If you aren't Satoshi-kun, then where did he go? When did you take his place?
シオン、
はい、全然平気。それよりケイちゃんこそ顔面蒼白
ならあまり俺の服を引っ張りすぎないで。
あ、こりゃ失礼です。
There's some supernatural shit going on. Good. I think
あらあら
I think if anything confirms it, it's I can't I can say for sure, but I can't say for sure at the same time. It's got to be for sure. It's got to be there's some magic. There's some Oyashiro-sama going on. Because
私はお邪魔かしら。
it doesn't make sense that only some people would hear something and other people would not. And I know that was presented to me before, but I wasn't like experiencing it. It was just kind of like, oh, you heard things? Maybe you just heard things, you know? But then two people heard it, so I don't know. I have no idea. I have no fucking clue. It wouldn't bother me if I didn't hear it. I should just ignore the noise.
高野さんはその風習
Holy
が
shit, it's an hour.
実は現代にも残っているんじゃないかと思って研究をしてるんです。
The actual fuck, it's an hour. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, so please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I just saw the time. Holy fuck. Sorry. I was there was a lot of talking, so I just kind of felt like maybe I should play more, I guess. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe. You can leave the video now. I apologize. God, I have no idea. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this episode that made me think Shion is crazy. But I think what this is maybe doing instead is convincing me that there is actually magic, which is a good sign because it's kind of showing me that it wants to get a little magical, which is all fine by me because that explains everything. Assuming that there's an actual demon kidnapping people and doing all that stuff, that will explain literally the entire fucking story. There'll be no question about what's going on. Rena, Rena could be the killer. You could put anybody as the killer, really, now if there's a demon, and it would work out fine. The stuff I have to look over, like I said, I know Insult left me a huge paragraph. I'd have to like reread that again, because there's so much stuff that I want to dive into and kind of I feel like it's so close now. The big question in my mind, and the reason why I can't come up with a permanent solution, is because of that magical factor, right? If everything's done by humans, or it's just, let's say it's just one person that wants to keep Oyashiro-sama's curse going, right? And it is what Shion had just said, where it's like one person, and they're being spiteful, they're trying to keep the tradition alive. There wouldn't be this happening. She wouldn't hear... I'm speaking fast because I don't want to go over any more time than I have to. Basically, if it is one person, then there would have to be a way, or have to be somehow, there would have to be something into which it would tell me how would you make a noise that only certain people could hear? You couldn't do that. That's not a possible thing that you can do. If this is some sort of insane thing where it's just in the mind, right? That doesn't make sense in this situation because other people are experiencing the exact same thing, and Rena has figured it out to a T what the curse is. So if there's anything that makes any sense at all, it's that they're willing to get magical in this game, and that there's a couple of things that they could take now if that's the case. Because I like at this point in time, I can't at all see any, like, please, if you know how this could be done still by just a raw human alone, please tell me, because right now it's seeming like everything that I've been saying is true. There's demons. Rena's sus as fuck. The whole town's in on it. It makes sense. It makes 100% sense if that's the case. I am like, you would have to do some real hard convincing in order for that to not be the case. Because everything that I'm thinking about, the same shit happening over and over again, solved if there's a dimension shifting demon, you know, like maybe the demon can pull people in and out of worlds, and that's why we see a doppelgangers, because they pull one of the Keichis into the demon world, but then there's like another person that shows up, and there's like reoccurring events that are happening that aren't necessarily coinciding with the same timeline. There's just so much stuff that would be so easily explained by a supernatural presence, and that's exactly what I think is going on. Because going through the checklist in my mind of what it could have possibly been, and I know I probably could have figured this out earlier based on just this moment in the previous game where only some people were hearing stuff and some people weren't. I just was kind of curious because it might have been that, like, Shion was in a different part of the ritual storehouse, and she heard something over there, and it wasn't loud. But it seems like it's very loud over here, and that both Keiichi and Takano... Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna keep repeating the same shit that I've said so far, but I need to end the episode because it's a freaking an hour and 12 minutes. I did not realize I was going that long. Fuck. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please hit the like button. I appreciate that, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. There's lots of visual novel and roguelike content on the channel. And I think I'm going to maybe play another one because I really want to see what happens. And obviously I didn't want to stop playing because I didn't realize that it was time to end it. So I apologize for taking up so much of your time. For those of you still watching, you guys are absolutely fucking insane. I apologize for the time. You guys should watch my videos on ×2 speed. I think that is probably the best way to watch my videos. Anyway. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, you guys.